Hello?
Hello, Donkey. I'm Shrek.
Oh, hey man, what's up?
Fiona's Aunt Flo is in town. Can I come over?
I didn't even know she had an Aunt Flo. Sure, man, come over. I make parfaits.
You know parfaits are like ogres. They both have layers.
What you talking about, man? Like a parfait comes to life and becomes an evil villain? Like an evil villain lair?
No, just a normal parfait, Donkey. I'm just saying they have layers. You know, layers.
Oh, you're saying layers. Man, I never got that till now.
What happened to us, Donkey? We used to be more than a walking pun and a giant green hole.
Oh, come on, Shrek, you're not an asshole.
I meant you, Donkey.
I know what you mean, though, man. Things have changed. I used to get all the be falling out of my pockets.
Oh, behave, Donkey.
Billy Ray Valentine, Capricorn.
Party on, Donkey. Shwing.
The had the hammer time going on.
Oh, behave again, Donkey.
You know, I wasn't always a cop.
Oh, behave, Donkey. Remember, I did like 3 of those.
And I remember this one time I had this chick in the car and I got pulled over.
It's a man, baby, yeah.
Okay, I don't want to talk about that.
Remember when Saturday Night Live used to actually be funny?
Hell yeah, I'm Gumby, damn it.
Ah, yeah. And the homie the clown, that was hilarious.
No, that wasn't even the same show.
Oh, sorry. You all look the same to me.
Who all looks the same?
Donkeys.
Oh, hey, why the hell is my name Donkey anyway? Your name's not Ogre.
Whatever, Donkey. You're just lucky it's not.
Now that's just hurtful.
You know what was hurtful? The golden child.
Oh, you gonna go there? What about 'cause I murdered an ex or whatever?
And Haunted Mansion, and the PJs, Beverly Hills Cop 3.
I know. I don't even know what the hell happened, man. I used to be cool. I was bad. And sometimes I get to thinking about the old days and it makes me cry. But then I just take a deep breath, I blow my nose with a $10,000 bill, and I feel better.
Okay.
And sometimes I make a little money for it, and I sit in there and eat caviar. And that always cheers me up. And I realize it could be worse.
Yeah, at least you're not Aykroyd.
But then I get cold, so I have to start a money fire. And the dragon insists on living in an old castle, man. And it's drafty. First it was a zebra, and now I got the dragon.
Donkey, do you ever shut the fuck up?
Just get over here, man. We'll make those parfaits.
Put plenty of layers in mine.
Ha! That's funny. Hey, you should be in a movie.
Did you guys like our original fictitious characters, Shrek and Donkey? They're based on some popular movie personalities you might be familiar with. And this episode of The Half Car is centered in and around Palo Alto in no particular order. And one of the things we went to see were the donkeys of Barron Park.
Tragic development here in Palo Alto, California. It's my accent's not good. It's supposed to be Scottish. So apparently Perry's companion, Miner 49er, known affectionately as Niner, or maybe Neener, has passed away, and Perry is not here. Perry must be meeting his new companion and getting acclimated, and he'll return soon. The significance of this donkey pen and the passing of Perry's companion is that Perry, the celebrity, is Donkey. Donkey from Shrek.
So there were no donkeys there, but it was still worth a visit. If you're in Palo Alto, go say hi. Bring him a parfait. Don't actually, that might kill him. I don't know what donkeys eat. If you want to see one of the largest freestanding structures ever built, the 200-foot high dirigible hangar known as Hangar 1 at the Ames Research Center, get online, because this is as close as you can get in real life to take a picture. And as long as you're in town, swing by the Santa Row Chess Plaza and wait in line, because it's very popular, and make your way up to the giant Monopoly board. It is the largest fixed Monopoly board in the world, and apparently you can actually play on it. I don't know if they have giant money, but you can rent playtime on their website, and they'll give you a hat of whatever character you want to be. So I guess maybe you have to serve as the piece and walk around. Sounds like fun. The world's most boring game in giant form. When you're on the road as much as the half car, you try to find a way to pass the countless highway hours. So I, and Jesse as my indifferent captive, have taken to listening to audiobooks. I like the Da Vinci Code, even though Dan Brown's writing style is cheesy, the references to art history and occult theology make up for the cliched narrative. We just finished Inferno, which uses the Divine Comedy as a central theme, and now look, The Gates of Hell is up for show and tell.
This is a copy of the famous French sculpture by Auguste Rodin. I don't know how you're supposed to say his name. It can be found in the Stanford Campus Sculpture Garden, among other fine works I don't really have time to go into. A lot of them are by Rodin, though. Rodin, whatever his name is. Long story short, if you've never heard of the Divine Comedy, it's a super famous epic poem written by this Italian dude, Dante Alighieri, in the early 1300s. I'm actually listening to an audiobook of that at the moment, but the Longfellow translation is kind of hard to muddle through. Though if you're interested in it, all LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. Anyway, in the story, the dude goes down to hell and sees all the horrible punishments that rapists, murderers, thieves, and people who just didn't have a chance to get baptized are suffering, and some of our modern ideas of hell are taken from his elaborate description. Really, the creative punishments alone is almost worth the read. He references a lot of Greek myth and names a whole bunch of famous historical figures that ended up in hell, which I think is really funny. Kind of like how South Park has done to contemporary dead celebrities. 3 things I found worthy of note. 1. The term comedy is a misnomer. It isn't funny. I guess all works of that time, written in the less sophisticated language of the common folk, were comedies, or are referred to as comedies, and his was the first or among the first to not be a comedy. 2. In the poem, the main character trips through hell, and after ascending the ladder of purgatory where his sins are purged, he is permitted into heaven. I also heard a rumor from, I think, a documentary that Jesus descended into hell during the 3 days when he was dead before he came back, and he brought people up into paradise with him. So heaven and hell are actually like the movie What Dreams May Come. You can escape the eternal pit of despair. And 3, the gates of hell, inspired by the Divine Comedy, is the source of a sculpture famous in its own right, known as the Thinker. Bet you didn't know that. I didn't. If you're into nerd stuff, you gotta stop by the Computer Museum. It is cray-cray in a good way. The place is gigantic, and it's kind of mind-boggling, all the steps that these things went through. Even if you're not into computers, it's kind of trippy to see all the old devices and toys and games and computer-based technologies and how they've evolved. You can spend a lot of time there. And at the end, they have one of those self-driving cars. You don't get to ride around, but you can sit in it and see what the future might be like. Ooh. As always, I'm not going to show you guys the interior of a paid museum. You're going to have to go there yourselves. Just a couple of pics maybe, but nothing that would potentially hurt their profits. And really, if you're nearby, you might as well go there anyway, because it is worth it.
I actually forgot to mention, I'm glad I remembered it. In addition to all the silicone floating around California, it's also home to a place lovingly referred to as Silicon Valley. Silicon being the material that computer chips are manufactured from. And because people like to try to put pins in history with dates and landmarks, a lot of people like to say that this shed was the beginning of the tech movement in that part of the world. Neat, huh?
In honor of this little visit, I am going to teach you guys my understanding of how to read binary. Alright, let me just take a sip of my beer. So let me ask you guys something. A little computer riddle. What is 1 plus 1? The answer, of course, is 1. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you don't need to watch this anymore, because I can't tell you anything unless you want to watch it and write to me and tell me what I got wrong. If you don't know what I'm talking about binary code. If you've seen The Matrix or even heard the term binary code, you probably already know that it's represented by a series of 1s and 0s. If you haven't seen The Matrix, go watch it. It's pretty good. Only the first one, though. The other 2 kind of suck. Think of these 1s and 0s as a state, the state being on or off. 1 represents on and 0 represents off. So when you see a series of these 1s and 0s together, they actually represent larger numbers. If the larger numbers were visible to you, it would look something like this. Every video I watched explaining how to read binary had you put the highest numbers on the left, and since it's easier to count up, at least for me, I'm going to recommend that you read binary from right to left. That's rule number 1. And it's important to remember because it's counter to what we're used to, unless you're Japanese. If you are Japanese, you probably already know way more about computers than I do, so no need to watch this. Go make more episodes of Attack on Titan, please. So, if we read from right to left, the first digit represents the number 1, and we simply double the number from then on. The second digit is 2, the third digit is 4, and so on. Each of these is referred to as a bit. Taken, as they nearly always are, in groups of 8, we call it a byte. Ever heard of a megabyte? It's not a really awesome cheeseburger.
It's 1,048,576 bytes, or 8,388,608 bits.
8 bits, 1 byte. Fun fact, half of a byte, meaning 4 bits, is called a nibble. So here we have a byte. Let's say all the digits in our byte are turned off. They will all be represented by zeros, which is what you would see if I were showing you binary code alone. Just 8 lonely zeros. The byte is interpreted as a whole by adding the separate numbers together and making the total the value of our byte. So right now the total is 0. But what if we were to turn on the far right, or as I'm calling it, the first digit? Make it a 1. Now the far right bit, representing the number 1, is a 1, meaning it's switched on instead of a 0. If we add all the digit outputs together, we get a total of 1. Now, what if we turn the second bit on? It represents the number 2, because remember, we double as we go. So the 1 digit and the 2 digit are now both switched on, and if we add them together, we get 3. So the total is 3. The byte itself represents a 3. What if we skip a digit and turn on the fourth switch, so to speak? It represents the number 8. So now 1 and 2 and 8 are all turned on. Add them up and you get 11. So when the computer reads the byte, it gets a value of 11. And depending on how the computer is programmed, the number 11 could mean the letter A, or it could mean launch the nukes and destroy mankind. It just depends. That's a far more complicated subject. All we need to learn right now is when we see 00001011, what number is it trying to tell us? 11. What if we switched all the digits on? If you add up everything I put here, you'll get a total of 255. If you include all the zeros, that makes for a total of 256 possible combinations of numbers. That alone is an impressive toolbox in order to code things, and in order to create larger numbers, all you have to do is instruct the computer to read multiple bytes at a time. So you're probably asking yourself, how do you instruct a computer to do anything? Well, it's kind of misleading terminology. And to be fair, I don't actually know how it all works. It's based on the principles of Boolean logic, named for a guy who lived in the 1800s and unfortunately died because his wife, being a proponent of homeopathy, thought that you could fight fire with fire, and when he got sick, they think from being out in the cold, she would periodically disturb his rest by barging into the room and splashing cold water on him in the misguided belief that like cures like. Not to say there isn't a basis for things like fever therapy, but if you're going to delve into alternative medicine, bring your common sense along, would you? But I digress. Here are your rules for reading binary. Right to left. Start with 1 and double as you go. Add the on or the 1 digits, and that's your number. I'll give you a few to try, and here's the first one to get you started. If I have the sequence 001000101, we take I'm calling it the first digit, which is a 1. It represents the number 1. And the next digit represents 2, but it's turned off. The digit after that represents 4, and it happens to be turned on. We'll skip over 8 and 16, and if you double that, you get 32, which is also turned on. So we're looking at 1, 4, and 32 are all switched on. 32 plus 4 is 36, plus 1 is a total of 37. 001000101 equals 37. Make sense? If you get lost, just look up above here where I kind of mapped it out. What we're showing is, starting on the right-hand side, the first unit, and then the second and third, and so on, just doubling as we go, and below that, what their output would be, which is literally just the number that I'm showing. But keep in mind, it's misleading, because up above these is what you'll actually see on your computer screen. It's just 1111111, or 1101010100101. You get it? Here, how about this? Try this one on for size. 00001110. And just remember, start at the right. So 1 is turned off, 2 is turned on, 4 is turned on, and 8 is turned on. If you just add those 3 together, you'll have your answer. And why don't you go ahead and try this and this. And you can pause the video and come back when you've figured it out. Okay, welcome back. Good job. Or bad job. I don't know what you did, because this is a recording. But congratulate yourself anyway.
subscribe.